Everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Daydream Project, and we just made it to port here at Lookout Cay
at Lighthouse Point, here on the island of Eleuthera.
We're on the Disney Fantasy, ready to get off the ship. We have not been to this port yet. It's pretty new. It opened up last June, and we're really excited to see what Lookout Cay has to offer as the second private Disney destination. Not its own island, right? Eleuthera, is just a Bahamian island here. Lots of other people live here on the other side of the island. But part of Disney's kind of methodology with designing this was bringing in and integrating a lot of that Bahamian art, music, and culture into the space. I have to say, when the first cruises went to this destination, not all of the reviews were necessarily positive. The flies, I don't think I need to say any more than that. If you know, there was some, constructive feedback and criticism given. And from what we've seen, it looks like Disney has made some efforts to make changes, even in those short months after the preview cruises. Ooh, and we're getting a nice view of something happening right outside our veranda. Which is really exciting, being up on deck 10. We get that exclusive view here.
I was like making eye contact with this man. I was like, hello?
So we're going to get off the ship here pretty soon. We should be able to head down and disembark in about 10 minutes. And yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm looking forward to. I'm coming in just with an open perspective. Yeah. I'm ready to just walk in there and experience all that Lighthouse Cay, Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point
on the island of Eleuthera
has to offer. Quick Daydream Project pro tip. This morning, we did fill out one of these very nifty room service door hangers. You can put this outside of your door anytime before 3 a.m. and they'll deliver a continental-style breakfast to your stateroom, and we thought that would be a better idea than braving cabanas this morning with everybody trying to go and get breakfast around the same time. We did that for lunch when we boarded the ship initially on the first day, and that was crazy enough for me.
Yeah.
Kind of a stressful experience when everybody is at the buffet around the same time. So this can be a good option, especially if you are a fan of a lighter breakfast.
Yeah.
So it was lovely.
Similar. I just did not want to be in cabanas that early in the morning. Selfishly, I was like, I don't want to have to get up early enough to get dressed and then go to cabanas, deal with the lines. So I feel like that is the tip in and of itself, is if you are trying to get down to Lookout Cay or Castaway Cay early, do this the night before so that you don't have to deal with cabanas. I slept in, rolled out of bed, my breakfast was right here, and it was fabulous. Yeah. So maybe tomorrow we'll brave cabanas, because we've been to Castaway Cay before, so it's less of a hustle, but we really wanted to be able to get down there quickly today.
Yep. All right, let's finish up packing. Let's get ready to head down there, and we hope that you'll join us on this Lookout Cay adventure today. Hey, it's two beautiful sights. You right up here and the fantasy in the background.
Thanks for letting me tail along, Tracy. And Sandy, the land crab. Hello, everyone. tip of the island of Aluthra in the Bahamas.
That's right. We made it to the beach. All told, it was about 25 minutes from leaving the ship to arriving here. It was 13 minutes to walk across the pier. Must have been 2/3, 3/4 of a mile, something like that. It is a sunny day. Even though it's the end of February, we worked up a sweat getting across to the other side, but there were also a couple of cutouts to take pictures. Overall, a really lovely walk. It kind of built up the anticipation.
Yeah, I didn't mind it that much, but also when we were standing in line for one of the pictures, somebody was like, yeah, it's not that bad, but imagine if it were July. And I was like,
Exactly.
Oh.
So we're coming in a very nice time of the year to make that walk. So certainly factoring that into the equation. And then it was another 12 minutes to walk over to the tram and take that tram ride over to the beach area. We did a little bit of exploring and shopping. Daydream Project pro tip, if you do want to purchase some Lookout Cay merchandise, hit up the gift shops early, right when you arrive, because they will sell out of certain items throughout the day. And we decided to camp over on the Serenity Bay adults only side. Just a little bit quieter out here. You know, we're embracing the relaxing mentality.
Go all the way in, so like I can look over and see kids over there. So it's not like we were like, no kids, but
yeah, we're close to the dividing line between Serenity Bay and the family side.
Like if I get in the water, I don't want to be splashed, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But first impressions of the beach.
It's gorgeous.
The sand, absolutely incredible, and I don't think I've really seen waters this crystal clear and blue before. I'm really excited to get in. Next mission is just to relax for a bit and to hydrate and apply a lot of sunscreen. If you watched our Alani series,
oh my gosh, yeah.
I got burnt every single day, and I'm determined that that's not going to happen this trip. Don't know if it's coming through, in the camera, but the sand here, so pretty. It has just the slightest pink tint to it too. We're actually out beyond Disney's property now. There's just this huge stretch of beach. We can see a lot of people are actually taking a stroll down there too. Another thing, the water is just so clear. It's such an interesting light shade of blue. It's like you can see just clear to the bottom everywhere you go. We've had a super relaxing day out here so far. We've actually fallen asleep like twice out on these beach chairs. And we finished up eating a little while ago. Pretty crowded over getting food at Serenity Bay, but I'm happy to report that the fly issue has been greatly diminished. Still some flies buzzing around directly where the food was being served, kind of in the main buffet line. However, we were able to eat our food completely unobstructed by flies, so not a huge issue. Still, it seems like they're working out a couple of things with serving food here at Lookout Cay. Still working the kinks out there, but we picked up a couple of drinks of the day after we ate, went back to the beach, and we've just been laying around until the Junkanoo parade show that's happening very, very soon. We have about 20 minutes until that starts. And Junkanoo, very traditional festival celebration in the Bahamas. Love the fact that they're kind of integrating that here into some of the art and the design of this port. And Junkanoo is supposed to be about just fun music, dancing, elaborate costumes and headpieces, very bright colors. So it's going to be a really participatory experience, and we're just excited to see what that's all about here. So long, Lookout Cay. Thanks for the memories.
And the sunburn.
And the sunburn on my feet. I did, in fact, not succeed in applying enough sunscreen. Tale as old as time for me. We are back on board. My ears are ringing in the best way after that Rush Junkanoo performance. I actually really enjoyed that. Rush was the group that led the procession, and it was fun. It was a party. It was everything as advertised. Lots of music and movement and participation. The thing I liked the most about it was actually when they encouraged everybody to like follow them out into kind of like the main square, if you will.
Like the very first area you see when you walk in.
Yeah, and then it was just like free form. They just played. Everybody was encouraged to dance, almost like a dance circle. And that to me felt like the most, I guess you could say, authentic part of the experience.
Yeah.
The first part, bringing out Mickey and Minnie. Cute, but yeah, like, it is what it is. So I really enjoyed that final part of the performance. And then it was getting kind of late in the afternoon. We'd had a lot of sun. So we decided to just pack up and head back to the ship. But I thought while things are still fresh, we could share our thoughts about Lookout Cay.
Yeah.
So overall, what did you think? Did you enjoy it? Do you think there's still some room for improvement here?
I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I think the first few videos that I saw of people visiting kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna hate it. But I will say, the beaches are just stunning. The water was phenomenal. I mean, if you want a true beach day, that's exactly what you're gonna get here, which was great. Mm-hmm. Something I also appreciated was it did feel less compact than Castaway Cay. I would say that, I mean, you're a little more horizontal, and that worked really well in terms of, like, I never felt like I was just, like, immediately on top of another group of people, which was really cool. Yeah. I thought the food was better than Castaway Cay. Mm-hmm. I
think they had
really
more variety. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kept it pretty plain. Yeah. But you could get your jambalaya, shrimp, no, not shrimp, but fish there too. So they had some additional offerings there. We were over at Serenity Bay Barbecue.
Yeah. I think visually that the structures they have up are really great. I think that in between the structures still feels a little unfinished, maybe, compared to Castaway.
Yeah, there's definitely some foliage that is not fully formed.
No, yeah.
And you'd imagine it might take a couple of years until it gets that way.
Yeah. The only other complaint I had was the lack of shade. Actually, another, which I'm saying a small thing, it's a big thing. All the women's restrooms only had 3 stalls in them. And that, on a beach, quickly became a nightmare. Every time I went into a bathroom...
Yeah, I was waiting for you quite a while.
Yeah. The first one was somebody... I don't know what happened to the first stall. But anyways, I reported it because I was like, nobody can use that stall. But that was then we were down to 2 stalls. And then in the other one, it was just, I don't know, I mean, people move slower on a beach. You're dealing with the bathing suits. The line was not moving. Mm-hmm. So that was my other complaint. You got to put more stalls in the women's bathroom. Oh my god.
Yeah. The pier situation, now that we've gone and come back, again, for 2 able-bodied adults at the end of February, not a huge deal. I can see if you do have mobility concerns, you can take a shuttle each way. So they do offer that. And for the kiddos, I thought it was really cool that they offered wagons that you can pull them in and you just, give it back once you're across the pier. So that can help if you have little kids. But there's a trade-off, right? Because I think the cruise industry, there's been a reckoning now, just concerning the environmental impacts of the cruise industry. So when you're creating new ports like this, you have to be really mindful of preserving that ecosystem, and the pier allowed them to not just dredge up all of that landscape to create a pier that was closer to the island. So there's just that trade-off. It really is like a beautiful walk. Again, the water's, I don't think I've ever seen water so blue or so clear.
Yeah. They could use some like overhead shade on the walk though.
There's like a cutout to take pictures and to sit to get some water, but agreed. If they could bring in a few more opportunities for shade during that walk, that would be a great idea. And I did love the touches of Bahamian culture throughout, in the sense that they worked really hard to bring in local artists to inspire the paintings that you see. The roofs are all in these natural shapes to evoke leaves or shells, and the paintings on them are all done by local artists. They have a store that features local artisans, which we went in, and that was really lovely. So kudos for doing that. And then Serenity Bay, an important call out, it is not its own separate location like Castaway Cay.
And
it's an extension of the same beach.
The nice thing is you don't have to work that hard to get there. The issue was, and I don't know, I didn't have this big of an issue with it, but I heard multiple parties complaining about this. There is no physical barrier, anything that is keeping kiddos from thinking twice about going into the adults only area.
And I think there were some families too who crossed over and just didn't see the sign.
Yeah,
it's
an
not
itty
that
bitty
obvious.
sign, tiny sign. So there were periods of time where, you know, they pulled the attendant to go do other things, and if that attendant wasn't there, you know, you give people an inch, they take a mile. You had kiddos running around Serenity Bay, and it's... I can understand why people who go to Serenity Bay with the advertised, like, it's only going to be for adults, would be upset. So,
yeah,
that was the only downside. And then it was always awkward, too, when the attendant would come back and then be like, oh, you have to leave. And he'd be, like, going telling, like, 10 groups of families at a time, like, go.
Yeah.
So, that was hard, I think. And could be improved. Something I heard was like, just put some shrubs up. Like, a line of shrubs might be a good indicator.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, who knows? I think they could consider making that more clear.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just my gut feel is that a lot of improvements have been made since some of the initial cruises that stopped here.
Yeah.
We're still working a few things out, but would I be excited to take a cruise that stops at Lookout Cay again? Like,
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mark of a job well done overall. It's just that feeling of, I just left, but I feel like I want to come back. That's always how I feel after leaving Castaway Cay. And this is a very different experience. But who wants, a cookie cutter replica of Castaway Cay anyway? Like, they had to try and do something that was markedly different from that. And I think there were a lot of things that they succeeded in here at Lookout Cay. Couple of Daydream Project pro tips. If you can handle it, wait later to get lunch. If you don't want to deal with a very long buffet line.
Yeah.
I think that Disney can still improve on how they handle some of their dining venues. Because you wait for everything. That's kind of the Disney way. That really just is the Disney way.
You had to wait for tables, too.
Yeah, we were very lucky to find a table. But when I came back, probably 30 or 40 minutes later, no line. And that was likely around like 1 o'clock or after 1 o'clock. So if you are okay to wait until that final lunch hour, I mean, you're going to be golden. And then if you're looking for a great photo opportunity in the water or on the beach, go just beyond the edge of Serenity Bay, where technically the Disney property ends, but gorgeous beaches for miles. Just clear, very uncrowded, just a few people exploring beyond the property. That's a great place to do that. Mm-hmm. So we're going to... Who knows what we're going to get up to this evening, but it is Pirate Night. So we have to prepare for that. Gotta get dressed up, throw on some bandanas, and get ready for the show and the fireworks this evening. Pirate Night preparations are underway. Look at these super cute bandanas we were provided. And in my last video, I mentioned being really careful about the stateroom that you choose for a Disney cruise in terms of the deck and what is directly positioned above or below you. I want to come back to that because I talked about being on deck number 10 and having the main pool deck right above us. And there are some cons that can come with that, but a huge pro is that you're super close to the main pool deck with all those extra areas for food and beverages. I don't like having to deal with elevators on cruise ships that much. They can be a mess, especially around meal times. So it's really lovely to just be able to pop up one deck and have everything at your disposal right there. All right, general Disney trivia. Third trivia game. Is this it?
No.
Winning ticket right here. We haven't had a whole lot of success so far. Yet again, this was not the winning card. We decided to be a little bit classy and come over to Meridian before dinner. It's the bar right in between Paulo and Remy. Lots of people stop here before their reservation. We are not really dressed for the occasion, but We came up because I had to try Singapore Sling. Claudia just went to Singapore. It's a very famous drink there. I wasn't able to come, but they have it on this cocktail menu.
And it looks authentic.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal.
And it's half the price, because at the Raffles Hotel in Singapore, I paid 40 Singapore dollars.
That's crazy.
To have one.
I'm going to give this one a try. Super, super tasty. Ingredients, just checking the menu here. Gin, cherry, Benedictine, pineapple juice, fresh lime juice, and bitters. Yeah,
It's good?
very, very good.
I have to try it too.
And Claudia ordered from the sommelier bin, which, Daydream Project pro tip, another way to save money on drinks here. If you are pretty open to any wine choice, you can just order from bottles that were opened a previous evening or earlier that day for a reduced price. Good stuff.
Very good. It's a champagne. Tavinger champagne.
It was a great idea to come up here. Claudia struck up a conversation with a lovely, elderly, or more mature couple. Been married for 25 plus years. Gave us some great advice as newlyweds. So, you know, cruise magic.
Yeah.
Get to know a lot of strangers.
Yeah, we also learned a tip about watching the fireworks. If you don't want to watch the show and don't want to watch the fireworks with a bunch of kids, you can actually go to the Meridian bar. If you walk in and go to the left, you can see the fireworks from the veranda back there.
Yeah, we're going to check out that vantage point because that might be something to consider later tonight. So here's some of that outside deck space off of Meridian. So if you come out here to watch the Pirates fireworks, you'll miss the show, but theoretically they'll shoot them off this side of the ship and you can still see the fireworks from here. So we'll likely go to a deck where we can see the show as well, but just an additional option.
Titan!
Oh, yes. Now I remember. And who are all of they?
Well, they wish to be your new shipmate, Captain. They seem a fine lot.
Bedtime for us. Fireworks at sea,
Great.
always nice.
There's a ship that got a whole other show.
Yeah, some ship got a free show there, pulled up right alongside us. They definitely had a nice view. Still, I think the only cruise line that does a fireworks show at sea, and super fun dance party afterwards. We were featured, you know, on the big screen. What can we say? We were tearing up the dance floor, so that was nice. But exhausting day too, filled with lots of fun and activities, and we've got one more day tomorrow. Hard to believe it's the last full day on the ship, but we are revisiting a very special place, Castaway Cay, where we got engaged about 1.5 years ago, or closer to 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to revisit that island, and yeah, we're gonna check out Serenity Bay. Haven't been to that side before, so hope you'll join us for the next video. We'll share our thoughts about that and everything that we cram into the very last day of this cruise.